It's the 5th of July, folks. What a big day that is, right? You know, that's the day after our independence, and now we got to get things rolling, okay? We're in the middle of the Great Reset, ladies and gentlemen. The Great Reset. Isn't that exciting? It's an exciting time. You remember a couple shows ago, we were talking about the 2030 agenda, UN and the WEF kind of getting together. It's almost like a cage fight, right? That's the team we're against, the UN and the WEF. But the fact is, folks, it's not a joke. And we're going to dive right back into it. I typically would do a monologue right now. I'm not going to do it because I want to save us time on this 1 hour show. Eric, how are you doing? The producer extraordinaire.
Doing good. We have a lot to cover, but yeah, it's just some serious stuff.
Aren't you proud of me? I'm going directly right into it.
Woohoo! Give him a raise.
Oh, man. Okay, here we go. So the 2030 agenda, let's play. Okay, good. You have it queued up here. We're going to play, folks, so you understand what we're talking about. Now, it's about 90 seconds.
Yep.
But it's important that you see this. Go ahead and play it.
And then, by the way, this is in June of 2020, and this is what a lot of people believe was them using COVID as a justification for globalism. So here,
very good. And put the whole screen, delete me from the corner so people can see everything.
Go ahead. Let's good. Do it.
Wow. So that's the setup, folks. That's the setup. And it doesn't end there. That's 2020. And they're using this big agenda that's happening, this 2030 agenda. Let's set it up a little bit more for them, Eric. Pull it up, because not everybody may have seen, this would be part 2, by the way, folks. If you go back a couple days ago, if you go back to the show from the 3rd of July, 2023, you will see the beginning of this, okay? And it'll all make sense. It'll make sense right now, too, but it'll connect all the dots. But so go ahead and set this up.
Yeah, so here are the 17 goals. What you have is the United Nations Agenda 2030 in conjunction with the Great Reset Agenda 2030 and the World Health Organization, all trying to have the world under a utopian state of global equity by 2030. So in 6 years, Craig, 6 or 7 years, how do you think the world is going to hit these 17 very aggressive goals for the sake of equity? Who's going to lose?
Well, who loses? The biggest loser in all of this, folks, is the United States of America. It's you and I. The biggest losers by far, because remember, we've dumbed ourselves down. If we learned anything in the Trump administration, love Trump or hate Trump, I don't care. I'm not emotional about it when it comes to that. What I care about when it comes to these leaders, I care about what are their policies, what are they doing, how does it help the republic? Okay. And these things, these color charts, it's like everything's colors of the rainbow now. Everything's out there and they're telling you they're going to get these things done. Why are they doing it? Why are they so hell-bent? They being the world out there, the World Economic Forum, the World Health Organization. All right. How do they think that it's best for us? Well, they don't. The America has to fall, ladies and gentlemen, for this stuff to happen. You must be depleted. They must deplete your money. They must deplete your voice. They have to deplete your liberty. And I'll pause there really quick, Eric, because I want to tie something into this. When I talk about depleting your voice, the same time, we have a federal judge right now that I don't know if we have this. I know we talked about it, Eric, but I don't know if you have something to show here, but I'm going to connect a dot for you. You have the 2030 agenda, and then you have, there it is, federal judge blocks Biden administration from meeting with social media companies. Folks, think about that. Federal judge, why? Eric, tell the folks why that he blocked it. What happened? What is it that they did, the social media companies like Facebook and Twitter, for example, and the federal government and even state governments? What happened?
Well, the judge is basically saying that he could see corruption of the big tech companies working with the Biden administration in 2020 to suppress free speech, to violate citizens' free speech, First Amendment rights. And he says, you got to knock it off while this, because it's right here. He said that responding to the Attorney General's lawsuit, they were contesting that it's the most egregious violation of the First Amendment in the history of the United States of America. And the judge said, I can see that. So you must stay out of this trial, Biden administration, and quit trying to collude in the midst of a lawsuit to see if you're actually guilty.
That's right. They're steering the message.
Yep.
Okay. Repeat that one more time about the most egregious, what he said about the First Amendment. Folks, it's very important. Turn the volume up on this right here. Just turn it up. Really let it sink in. Go ahead. Read that again about what the judge said.
Yeah, so the injunction was a victory for the state attorney general, who has accused the Biden administration of enabling a sprawling federal censorship enterprise to encourage tech companies to remove politically unfavorable viewpoints and speakers. And the point to the judge was, according to the attorney general, this of the state, this is the most egregious violations of the First Amendment in the history of the United States of America.
So think about that. That plays right into the 2030 agenda. It plays right into what they're trying to accomplish, which is limiting your voice, not allowing you to have the power of the First Amendment of the Constitution to give you the data and the information and be able to speak amongst each other through these digital platforms, which is the modern day communication, right? Where you can go into a Facebook and talk about a lot of things, good, bad, or otherwise, but you couldn't talk about what was going on with COVID and going on with the shots and going on with the reactions to the shots and how kids shouldn't take it, the whole nine, ivermectin, and couldn't check your family out of the hospital. People were dying in the hospital in droves because they're getting the wrong medications. And then your doctor said that they couldn't, that even if you could get the doctor to prescribe it, then that you wouldn't get it filled by the pharmaceutical department. So you can go to the pharmacy because big pharma controls all of that. And these big agencies control that, and they quash your voice. That's what has to happen. So to answer your question, Eric, about what has to happen, the United States of America has to be shut down.
By the way, a assistant professor at Stanford concerning this, the lawsuit was brought by Louisiana and the attorney generals from Louisiana and Missouri, but they're saying that the injunction is strikingly broad and clearly is intended to chill any kind of contact between government actors and social media platforms, professor at Stanford. So this was a pretty stark condemnation of what big tech's been doing in the elections.
That's exactly right. So you try to wonder, you sit back, folks, you go, how did this happen? What is going on? How could we be this far off the rails? How is it that we're losing? We're losing because we have crooked politicians teamed up in the US, crooked US politicians, crooked corporations. You just have to look at BlackRock, look at JP Morgan. What are they doing in Ukraine? Big money grab, folks. There's a lot of money that can be made in the Great Reset. All right. And part of that Great Reset is resetting your money as well. Oh, boy, we're going to get into that digital currency, all that kind of stuff. But I do not want to filibuster on this. So let's go to your next point here.
Okay, so my question to you is this: so can you imagine how much money contractors are going to make if they can be part of trying to enforce the 17 goals?
100%.
How much could you make if you were?
It's trillions of dollars.
If you were putting in, if your job as the contractor, and you get the job at the UN and the US to go put in clean water units around the world, paid for by us, how much would you make as a contractor?
That's right. 100%. Look, you follow the bribe. How many times have we talked about the bribe on this show, folks? It's all about the bribe. From Adam and Eve to the current situation we're dealing with right now with the Great Reset. And it's about destroying your liberty, ladies and gentlemen. Your liberty has to be gone. Your wealth has to be gone. These people, when you say, what does it say about poverty? There'll be no more poverty or something like that. Zero hunger. What does that mean? Zero hunger. What do they mean? How is that possible? It's impossible
in
to
7
have
years.
Zero hunger in the world.
In 7 years. It's impossible overall, but think, okay, so
the
real
whole
quick.
thing's impossible.
So in 7 years, tell me if you think this, how is this going to work, Craig? There's going to be no poverty, no hunger. Everybody will be healthy. They'll have every same education worldwide. But you got to throw in a gender equality in the middle of that, because that would be crucial for sustainability. Clean water for everybody, affordable energy for everybody, decent work for everybody, in same industry for everybody, reduced inequalities for everybody, sustainable cities for everybody, responsible consumption and production, climate action for everybody be required to do that. Life below the water, that has to be somehow, I don't know what that means. Life on land, peace, justice, and strong institutions for everybody, and partnerships for the global family for everybody. That is what the Biden administration, the Great Reset, the United Nations, Europe, Klaus Schwab, everybody was trying to shoot for in 7 years.
Okay. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to pull up on my end so I can show it to you folks. There's a great video. I think I'd sent one to you as well concerning, communists and communism and the power of communism. We may have pulled that up in the break. I'm going to do that, folks. There's a couple of things I want you to see on this specific point, okay, that these people, this agenda, 7 years, it's like the Mayan calendar, right? Well, the clock is ticking, and no, I don't think the world's going to end when it says it's going to end, and because nobody knows when the world's going to end. Nobody knows when Jesus is going to come back. Nobody. But these people somehow believe that within 7 years, and it's not even 7 years anymore, it's 6.5 years, they're going to radically change the entire model of the world. And you can see it when they're trying to quash the money trail, all right? Whether it's Biden, look how close we are to really catching Biden. Look, he's already caught, but how close we are to making it absolutely impossible to hide that the Biden family is a crime syndicate. That's what they are. They funnel money. They become extremely wealthy by selling you and I out. And they're not the only ones, by the way, at all. They constantly are sitting. Nancy Pelosi, is worth a tremendous amount of money while the people around her are living in tents, okay, in her area in San Francisco. But yet she's worth a fortune. She's worth tens of millions of dollars. Okay, and it's because of the corruption that's happening all over the place. So the World Economic Forum and the UN and the 2030 Agenda, Eric, is working well. I think they've overshot their mark. I think they really believed as they were building this 23rd agenda that Trump was never going to be president. See, think about how much farther down the road we would be, folks, with your liberty being destroyed if Hillary Clinton became president. We can't forget about that. We can't forget that these people would be much farther into this agenda if Hillary Clinton was elected. But she wasn't. And there's a reason for that, because God is real. Okay? God is also amongst us, helping us. He understands that what's going on better than anybody. So we are in very, very demonic times because we're living Scripture, folks. I hate to get all biblical on you, but it's just a fact. And for this country to fall, do you have the Steve Berger video you can pop up real quick? Do you have that in your file anywhere? Because it's very important to understand that all of this. What do you got here?
Here's the KG. But when we get back from the break, I think we'll go over what this guy is, and I think we should also discuss about what is elaborate more on what if Hillary would have won on the courts,
absolutely,
and everything 100%. Else.
Look forward to it. We'll be back in a minute, folks. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere.
If you study history, in particular, just most recently, you look at what happened in Russia, the Russian Revolution, right? Alexander Solzhenitsyn teaches us, and history teaches us, the issue of the day was getting rid of God first in order for communism to take over. You go forward a few years later in history with Adolf Hitler. What was the first thing the Third Reich was doing was silencing and getting rid of the church, God, if you will. And now what we're seeing in the United States of America is the exact same thing.
Amen.
Let's get rid of God, because if you can get rid of God, if you can silence and weaken the church, then all of a sudden the satanic plan for globalism to happen around the world has a much better chance.
Sure.
The hope of America is churches filled with people that love Jesus and are being instructed by on-fire pastors.
Oh, let's see here. I'm trying. Be right with you, folks. I've got the Constitution pulled up on my phone here. Hold on. I'm going through the articles here, and I'm really searching with this high-powered magnifying glass made in China. I can't see anywhere. Folks, I can't see anywhere in the Constitution that it gives other countries the power to take your rights away. I can't see it anywhere. Look, you can borrow. You want to borrow mine? Look, pull out your Constitution. I don't know how powerful of a magnifying glass I need to find this hidden print, but it doesn't exist. It's not there, ladies and gentlemen. So what we're talking about right now is a 2030 agenda, and we're talking about how these people operate, and then how did these other countries get taken over? How did communism become so prevalent? And I don't want to hear, please. I've had people push back on me. Craig, Russia's not really communist. They're really not communist. Really? I almost channeled Clinton for a second. Wow. Because I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Monica Lewinsky. You stupid people. I think you're stupid. I do. And my wife's coming, I'll tell you. Sorry. I can't help it sometimes, folks. We have been under attack for so long. We're going to point out today to you folks why we try to use a little bit of humor, because humor helps relieve stress. It really does. So try to have a little humor in your life. So we try to do that in this show. But the fact is, they're serious times. And we have a video right now. Set this up for us, Eric, that's going to kind of explain to them why we're showing them this video.
Well, this was 1984. It was a KGB defector, Yuri Bezmenov's, and he's in an interview. He lays out what the plan, KGB plan, the communist plan was and is to take down the United States.
You know, it's interesting. Before you play this, George Orwell wrote the book 1984. This is in 1984, and I'm in the middle. If you look, folks, if you have not been paying attention to the past, you have to understand that George Orwell, for example, he wrote a book called Animal Farm. I'm in the middle of that book right now because it's before 1984, if I remember right. And look, this is not a brand new thing we're dealing with and we're about to show you. 1984. This has been going on for decades. The enemy had to figure out a way to destroy the United States of America, which means destroy you and I, which means destroy your kids and destroy your grandkids in the future of this country, folks. They had to figure out a way that didn't use missiles and bombs and boots on the ground like you're seeing in Ukraine, because the United States of America has such a formidable military. We are unbeatable. Make no mistake about it. If we had F-22s flying over Ukraine today, the war would be over. Make no mistake about it. The technology that we have supersedes anything out there, though China, the biggest thief in the world, is coming after us in this World War III. But as of right now, we are undefeatable militarily. So what have they done? They've known this for decades. And so they're figuring out ways to come in and get in, circumvent into, infiltrate into the Republic using very, very strategic techniques. So let's take a look at this right now. What's up? Go ahead and play the video.
Mr. Bezmenov was born in 1939 in a suburb of Moscow.
Go ahead and blow that up.
He was the son of a high-ranking Soviet Army officer.
That's as big as it goes.
He was educated in the elite
No,
school.
I mean,
here, I'm
inside
sorry, on
the
your
Soviet
screen. I'm sorry.
Union and became an expert in Indian culture and Indian languages. He had an outstanding career with Novosti, which was and still is, I should say, the press arm or the press agency of the Soviet Union. It turns out that this is also a front for the KGB. He escaped to the West in 1970 after becoming totally disgusted with the Soviet system, and he did this at great risk to his life. He certainly is one of the world's outstanding experts on the subject of Soviet propaganda and disinformation and active measures. Well, you spoke several times before about ideological subversion. That is a phrase that I'm afraid some Americans don't fully understand. When the Soviets use the phrase ideological subversion, what do they mean by it?
Ideological subversion is the slow process which we call either ideological subversion or active measures, активные мероприятия in the language of the KGB, or psychological warfare. What it basically means is to change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country. It's a great brainwashing process which goes very slow, and it's divided in four basic stages. The first one being demoralization. It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation. Why that many years?
So does that sound like the U.S., Craig, where first you demoralize the people?
Absolutely. Folks, what you're going to find in this video is, and it's longer than I would normally play, and we may not play the whole thing, but we'll have a link to it so you can watch it all. Just depends on what time is today, how it goes. But stage one, and then watch stage two, watch stage three. Folks, it's very important to understand that we are at war and have been at war for quite some time. Okay. And so let's keep playing this because this is important. Let's let it roll.
Because this is the minimum number of years which requires to educate one generation of students in the country of your enemy, exposed to the ideology of the enemy. In other words, Marxism-Leninism ideology is being pumped into the soft heads of at least 3 generations of American students without being challenged or counterbalanced by the basic values of Americanism, American patriotism. The demoralization process in the United States is basically completed already. For the last 25 years, actually it's overfulfilled because demoralization now reaches such areas where previously not even Comrade Andropov and all his experts would even dream of such a tremendous success. Most of it is done by Americans to Americans, thanks to lack of moral standards. As I mentioned before, exposure to true information does not matter anymore. A person who was demoralized is unable to assess true information. The facts tell nothing to him. Even if I shower him with information, with authentic proof, with documents, with pictures, even if I take him by force to the Soviet Union and show him concentration camp, he will refuse to believe it.
Wow.
Until he's going to receive a kick in
So think about that.
Yeah.
He said as of 1984, the demoralization was completed in the U.S.
That's right. Think about this. Think about this. The world is upside down, and you question yourself, what's happened? I mean, did I not pay attention for that long? What's going on? Well, we're this bad off, ladies and gentlemen, because it started decades ago, and they infiltrated decades ago. So many of you, for instance, who say you're 45 today, you were a kid when they started this. And it was your parents that became the prey at the time because they had to get to you. All right. And then now you see this ramp up. And as we keep playing this video, because I want to play the whole video, Eric.
Yeah, it's about 4 minutes left. Yeah.
That's good. That's fine. It needs to be played. This is one of the most important things, ladies and gentlemen, that you can listen to or watch in this case. And you have to share it. As a matter of fact, I want to break this down where we're going to cut this into a snippet that will just send it out, and we will title it what is it? Idealism diversion. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think illogical. It is basically the. How did he? Oh well, I don't remember the exact title. We'll get it, but
we'll get the title up there because that's what it is, folks. That's what it is. Words you've never even heard of. It's like, what are they talking about? And this is how they take over. They infiltrate and they indoctrinate. And let's hit play. Let's go.
Here is exactly, just so we have the title.
When the Soviets use the phrase ideological subversion, what do they mean?
Ideological subversion. Okay, so get back up here to go.
I'm going to write that down.
It until he is going to receive a kick in his fat bottom. When a military boot crashes his balls, then he will understand, but not before that. That's the tragic of the situation of demoralization. The next stage is destabilization. This time, subverter does not care about your ideas and the patterns of your consumption. Whether you eat junk food and get fat and flabby, it doesn't matter anymore. This time, and it takes only from 2 to 5 years to destabilize a nation. What matters is essentials: economy, foreign relations, defense systems. And you can see it quite clearly that in some areas, in such sensitive areas as defense and economy, the influence of Marxist-Leninist ideas in the United States is absolutely fantastic. I could never believe it 14 years ago when I landed in this part of the world that the process will go that fast. The next stage, of course, is crisis. It may take only up to 6 weeks to bring a country to the verge of crisis. You can see it in Central America now. And after crisis, with a violent change of power, structure, and economy, you have so-called the period of normalization. It may last indefinitely. Normalization is a cynical expression borrowed from Soviet propaganda. When the Soviet tanks moved into Czechoslovakia in '68, Comrade Brezhnev said, "Now the situation in brotherly Czechoslovakia is normalized." This is what will happen in the United States if you allow all these schmucks to bring the country to crisis, to promise people all kind of goodies and the paradise on earth, to destabilize your economy, to eliminate the principle of free market competition, and to put a big brother government in Washington, D.C., with benevolent dictators like Walter Mondale, who will promise lots of things, never mind whether the promises are fulfillable or not. Your leftists in United States, all these professors and all these beautiful civil rights defenders, they are instrumental in the process of the subversion only to destabilize the nation. When their job is completed, they are not needed anymore. They know too much. Some of them, when they get disillusioned, when they see that Marxist-Leninists come to power, obviously they get offended. They think that they will come to power. That will never happen, of course. They will be lined up against the wall and shot. But they may turn into the most bitter enemies of Marxist-Leninists when they come to power. And that's what happened in Nicaragua. You remember most of these former Marxist-Leninists were either put to prison or one of them split, and now he's working against Sandinistas. It happened in Grenada when Maurice Bishop was already a Marxist. He was executed by a new Marxist who was more Marxist than this Marxist. Same happened in Afghanistan when first there was Taraki, he was killed by Amin, then Amin was killed by Babrak Karmal with the help of KGB. Same happened in Bangladesh when Mujibur Rahman, very pro-Soviet leftist, was assassinated by his own Marxist-Leninist military comrades. It's the same pattern everywhere. The time bomb is ticking. With every second, the disaster.
So there you have it.
The time bomb is ticking, ladies and gentlemen. You know, the one thing that I love about broadcasting and I love about recording is you can go back and you can see things. If you dig enough, if you pay attention enough, if you know what to look for. You know, I was making a joke about the magnifying glass, right? And let's turn the light on. You know, they're trying to hide. We've got to get in and we got to really search for this stuff, just like this video. It's exactly what's happening. So the number one thing you have to realize is we're at war and we're in World War III, and we've been in World War III for quite some time. It's just not the same kind of war that you are used to seeing as you've grown up. And it depends on what age you are, okay? If you're a teenager today, you know, many teenagers today have been indoctrinated by this operation. And it is not it's not a coincidence that who we're fighting right now is the CCP and Russia and Iran and, you know, much of the Middle East. And these people are following that game plan. And we're finally, through the grace of God, being able to expose what they're doing. They've been hiding in the shadows. They've been slowly drip, 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 getting people to think, these young kids to think through indoctrination of our school system. And that's why you see them so angry at the country that they live in. And you think, well, how did this happen? It happened just like the video we just showed. That's how it's happening. And what do you have? Pull up there right now. We have from CBS. That's interesting too, this thing right here, CBS. Chinese hackers took trillions in intellectual property from about 30 multinational companies. Hey, when we come back from the break, I'm going to focus on that in the EVs, electric vehicles. Okay, stolen tech, intellectual property, all that. Wait till you see this map, folks, about electric battery manufacturing plants and where they're being built. We'll be back, folks.
Wow, it's so soft and smooth.
It's cool to the touch. How did you do that?
Well, we took MyPillow's patented fill and combined it with this new technology that we didn't have back then when I invented MyPillow to bring you the best pillow in history, MyPillow 2.0. Because of all of you, MyPillow 2.0 has been a huge success, and now we're bringing you our best-selling Go Anywhere MyPillows with the same temperature-regulating technology. Made with my patented adjustable fill and brand new cooling fabric, they're truly the next generation of MyPillow. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save over 60% on our MyPillow 2.0 4-pack special. You'll get 2 MyPillows and 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows, regular $259.92, now only $99.98. King size just $10 more. This is a limited time offer, so please order now.
Keep up the great work, Craig, and congratulations again. God bless you.
Welcome back, folks. Craig Bouchon here, Craig Bouchon Show. Big day today, big show today, the day after Independence Day, and I called it the somber Independence Day, the divided Independence Day. And if you missed that show, you need to go back and watch it. A lot of important stuff covered there. But today we're focusing on directly on this 2030 agenda. Federal judge that blocked Biden administration from, infiltrating through social media our First Amendment rights. We think that it's imperative, folks, that you understand how the enemy is attacking you and I, all right, and the strategies that they're using. And if you missed the last segment, Eric, we need to cut that segment today, title it, and get it out on its own. Okay? It's imperative that we do that. Sounds because good. That is one of the most powerful videos, folks, that you could watch concerning what's going on in your life in this country and who's coming after you and what their strategy is. So Chinese hackers now have stolen trillions of dollars. Go ahead, tell the folks what this is saying. What do they need to know?
Yeah, a report from the Boston-based cybersecurity firm Cyber Reason has figured out that, quote, we're talking about blueprint diagrams. This is what China has hacked and stolen, and their spies have provided diagrams of fighter jets, helicopters, and missiles in the military side. And pharmaceuticals, they've been stealing the IP of drugs about diabetes, obesity, depression, and other medications, which then they go and produce and patent. They've also have been stealing and getting access to the different various technologies that have not yet been patented, and they patent. So they've been able to get all of our electronics, patent them, take the technology out of the United States, move everything over to China. And now they basically control the pharmaceuticals, they control all the electronics. And they did that by stealing the data, not by research and development. Thus, they are the communist superpower partnered with Russia that we are losing to in many ways.
That's right. And that brings it right into a nuclear bomb dropped on our economy, and that is the electric vehicle industry, folks. The electric vehicle industry is being pushed heavily by China. And they have their company BYD. I think the other one's CATL. They have pushed at a rapid pace, ladies and gentlemen, to get off of fossil fuels and move to this new. And when I say fossil fuels, I mean fossil fuels for vehicles, folks, because they're burning fossil fuels. more than anybody in the world, by the way. They got power plants jamming right now. Okay, we've talked about that several times on this show, and that is part of this war. They have decided that the United States of America is not going to defend themselves. We're just going to fall on our sword, if you will. And they saw a part of that when Biden first got into office. What did he do? He stopped the Keystone Pipeline right away. First thing he did. What do you got pulled up here? Gavin Newsom. Oh, yeah, Gavin Newsom. See, you're going to notice something, folks, that the mainstream media is going to start going after the Biden administration more and more and more because he was also their useful idiot, even though I've argued he's not that stupid. He is that evil. Fact. But now he's kind of getting used up, so he's got to go away. And that's why you see this cocaine stuff going on, this white powder that they found that's now cocaine. Do you know that Hunter Biden was he was there? I wonder if it's his coke. Is he doing lines with other people? Who knows? But how'd it get out? That's very, very rare that you'd see the mainstream media cover or even allow this to be exposed from a Democrat government, from their White House. It's because they want to take him down, folks. He is outlived, if you will, his need. His resource to them is going away. So Gavin Newsom, though, he's the new one. He's the 2.0. He's the next gen. What do you got pulled up here for office of the governor of Gavin Newsom? Now, remember this nutbag. This guy, he is whacked, okay? He'll travel around as his city, as his state is burning down economically and infiltrated by foreign nationals and sleeper cells, and they give out driver's licenses, to anyone who shows up. And he's traveling around the countries, going into Florida, going to other states, saying, "Hey, this is how you need to start doing things." I mean, I remember we were talking about that. What do you got pulled up here about Mr. Gavin Newsom?
Well, but before I left the state and moved to Oklahoma, he issued an executive order requiring the sales of all new passenger vehicles to be zero emission by 2035.
Right.
It'd be illegal to buy a gas-powered car in 12 years in the state of California.
That's right. So you would think to yourself, huh? What are you talking about? Well, if we have a super majority of citizens in this country are going broke. We have no middle class to speak of anymore. So how are they going to buy an electric vehicle? Where are they going to plug it in at? And then you have the poor people who are there's tens of millions of them. How are they going to get a vehicle, and where are they going to plug it in at? Well, the agenda is you're not going to own anything. See, we're thinking of this all wrong. You're not going to own a vehicle in the 2030 agenda. Why do we say that? Because that's what they said. You will not own anything. You'll rent stuff. Okay? So electric vehicles are connected directly to this, and that's why they're pushing this so hard. And Gavin Newsom is part of that movement. He is the Marxist. He is the one he has been weaponized against you and I, and they have stolen the state of California. So part of this war, if you look at the map up here, where am I at? Up here, American, right up there. If you look at the United States of America, right there, if you just start looking at, when you look at the war that's going on in Ukraine, they kind of draw out the areas that Russia controls, who nobody controls, and who Ukraine controls. We need to start doing that in the United States of America. We need to develop a map, and you can kind of see it in the elections, but it's weird. The supermajority of the United States is red, but yet you could still lose the election, right? It's because these strongholds like California and how many votes that they control. This is on purpose that they're going into these states. The state of California is arguably the wealthiest state in the country, geographically, by its location, and then all the things that are there, all the natural resources and things like that. So it's not an accident that they've sent in a Gavin Newsom to become the emperor of California and to weaponize that message and go into other states. Because he's going into other states, right? His goal is to spread his ideology and really the world's ideology, the World Economic Forum's ideology, and the UN's. He's out there spreading it right now, isn't he, Eric?
Yeah, he was just up in Idaho over the 4th of July holiday. So he's up there trying to convince or explain to Idaho liberals from California that moved there, how they could convert Idaho into an extension of California.
Right.
Would that be special? That's like he went to Florida. He's running ads in Texas. Because a new Gavin Newsom is actually has been identified by Klaus Schwab of the World Economic Forum as one of the main next generation leaders of
absolutely
him. And okay, look who the leaders are: Macron in France, which is burning.
Yeah.
Trudeau in Canada, and Newsom in California.
That's right.
That's the next generation of globalist leaders of the World Economic Forum, as identified by the evil one, Klaus Schwab.
Right. And California, folks, I mean, France, Canada, California, who's more powerful? State of California.
Yep.
Think about that. The state of California has more power economically and geographically where it's positioned in the world, on the globe. And he's fighting on their side. So you have a state, folks, that is anti-America. Think about that for a minute. We have a state of California that its leader is the enemy of the United States of America and the Republic, to the Republic for which we stand. So you say, Craig, well, why are you saying electric vehicles? Because pull up automotive news. Matter of fact, I have to pull it up, as a matter of fact, because you actually have to pay to get into automotive news. And on my press side, I think it's important that I keep an eye on the automotive industry as well. It's a very, very important part of the roughly 5 to 7% of all the jobs in this country, folks, are connected to the automobile industry. So if you're going to drop a bomb on the fuel cells, on the fuel sources like you would back in World War II to cut off that supply chain of fuel. Well, this is the same thing. It's just a different way of fighting a war. The fuel for the United States of America is the liquid gold that's under our feet. It's the coal as well. It's our natural gas. And it's the nuclear plants that we should be building and we're not. So electric batteries. So what I always say, follow the money, right? And then also the bribe. And what's the strategy? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up, see if I can get it up here. I'm going to pretend I'm like Eric now, and I'll probably make a mistake. So we'll see. Share that. Okay, here we go. And let me go in. And can you see that on your end?
Yes.
Okay. So what is it saying? It's saying that EV batteries are on the way. The scramble to build batteries for all new EVs is now underway. Okay. So as I scroll down, you see these plants, one in Bowling Green, Kentucky, with, was it Nissan? You have Florence County, South Carolina, with BMW. And then you have the Green Township of Michigan, talking about, oh, look at all the jobs that are going to be grown. And then who's building that $2 billion plant in Michigan? You asked, because the Chinese battery manufacturer intended to build part of the campus in nearby Big Rapids, Michigan, but faced opposition from the township board because it was ties to China in the environmental concerns. Goshen's plan is to build 4 manufacturing plants on about 500 acres in Green Township, but work was on hold for a month. On hold, not stopped, folks, on hold, as the company awaited results from the federal review. Oh, gotta trust that, 100%. They're on your side. Examining potential national security risks. Last month, Goshen said it will move forward after the Committee on Foreign Investments in the U.S. said the proposed purchase of the land is not covered under the Defense Production Act of 1950.
And who did they buy? Who did they buy off? Gretchen Whitmer.
Yeah, and wait a minute, and not covered. It doesn't mean that it's not really happening, but there's no way to protect ourselves, folks. Sorry. It's just they found a loophole, and it's not covered. You were arguing, folks, that it's under the proposed purchase of the land is not covered under the Defense Production Act of 1950. Sorry, so you're going to have to take it. Well, it doesn't end there, folks. You would think, oh, well, that's just there. What about? Let's go down. You go through Jamestown, New York. They have a Canadian factory going in there, but also follow where these Canadian companies are getting their materials, okay, the lithium and things like that, the cobalt. Where are they sourcing it from? Who's getting the money? How is it getting funneled through? You're going to see a lot of these come directly from CCP-backed companies, generating tremendous wealth for the enemy that is attacking us in World War III right now. Then you have Ford and CATL. Oh, there's that name, CATL, also connected to the CCP, teaming up with Ford in Marshall, Michigan, then also in Tennessee. And then you go on and on and on and on and on. And that's what's going on, folks, within our society. We have been infiltrated, and they are now. So let's pull up the map. Now let's connect this to this map. Was that? I bet it was on this same one. Was it on the same one, or did I say
it was on the same one.
Okay, let me go back in there, folks. I'm going to share this again.
So let me ask you a question while you're doing that. What if China decides down the road to turn off providing batteries, to cease providing batteries?
Right. Well, that's interesting you say that. Let me do that. Do you see that on the map right there?
I can expand it. Yep.
I'm going to expand this out. I'm going to zoom it in as well. Sorry, I'm not as good as Eric. And
there you go.
Okay. So right here, folks, that is a map of the United States of America. And when I zoom out, let's just zoom out so you know I'm not tricking you. You see all these little things. Woo, look at that. They're all popping up there. Well, where is that at? Well, a lot of this area here, as we zoom in, okay, Louisville, Kentucky, Tennessee, you go through a lot, the South, all right? That's the bribe, ladies and gentlemen. That's the bribe. Look at the jobs we're going to bring. And all you have to do is get your state to contribute money by the hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars so we can get these Chinese companies teamed up with companies like Ford, who's losing $60,000 per vehicle because it's a boondoggle, because it's not supposed to be building these type of things. They should be building internal combustion engines and developing new technologies. That's fine, but not at the pace that we're doing it at, and not by empowering our enemy. But that works very, very well for the 2030 agenda, doesn't it? So when I show this, Eric, look at where these plants are at. They're deep into the areas that Obama talked about, where they clench their Bibles and have their guns. You remember that statement?
Yes, yes, and these areas had high unemployment.
Absolutely.
So they love those jobs.
Yeah, bring the pain, right? So make the pain happen. You go up into Ohio there. They've got blighted communities everywhere. By who? By the governments that outsourced your jobs, okay, in those areas, brought so much pain. Go back to the agenda, okay, of the 2030 and the strategy that they're using. And then now they're going to swoop in. Look at the new jobs that you have. Yeah, backed by the enemy who has the agenda of destroying the republic. Does that make sense? Am I making sense, Eric? Is there a question you need to ask me so I can define it more, or does it make sense?
No, it makes sense. And the twisted angle to this is there won't be enough power to charge those cars.
Right.
So in the end, you won't be able to afford the car. There won't be any power. So you'll end up under the UN agenda, the Great Reset goal of owning nothing and being happy about it.
That's right. Because folks, look, this is for your best interest. This is for you. This is about making the world better.
Equity.
To make it fair.
That's right.
It's about fairness, folks. And the United States of America has an advantage that's unfair. You have look at the colors. I want to read through this. Number one, no poverty, folks. It's no poverty. You're going to have no poverty. Isn't that great
Anywhere.
news? Number two, zero hunger. Everybody's bellies are full. Everybody's. There's no hunger in the world. Unbelievable. Good health and well-being. Oh, absolutely. That's going to be very interesting how they get the people in China who are eating crickets right now. You need to eat crickets. That's how you do it. So the way that when you devolve, folks, is you devolve in your first world country and you start eating crickets and roaches and any other insect that's out there that they think has the protein and the vitamins. Because it's better than a petite filet. It's better than a T-bone, folks. Them farting cows, are you kidding me? Stinking up the place, destroying the ozone? No, folks, we're going to stop hunger by changing what you believe is edible food if you're willing to be stupid. Just they want you to be their useful idiot, folks. Okay, what's the other one? Quality education. I think we've covered on this show many times how the quality education you're getting is actually quality indoctrination.
Yep.
It's about teaching you why you need to hate America. You need to know that you have been your country was started by white racist colonialism people that want to spread their hatred across the earth, folks. God forbid they were able to bring liberty to the Chinese people. Oh, are you kidding me? The people eating crickets right now. Bugs, scorpions. I heard they're good. Got a little sting to them, but a little bite. But don't worry about it. It tastes great. It's just like chicken, but it's not chicken because chickens fart too, really bad. So let's see. We're going to have gender equality. Well, you can all see how that works, right? You can see. I don't have to go into that deep dissertation. I could do a show on each one of these and multiple shows. I'd have to be on 24 hours a day. Oh, but they are on 24 hours a day, aren't they? The 24-hour-a-day news is on 24 hours a day, indoctrinating people on this agenda. That's what they're doing. See, and you get an hour here. We're going to need a 24-hour show, Eric. I hate to tell you.
Who needs to sleep?
Affordability in clean energy. Affordable in clean energy. There's nothing more affordable, folks, than putting solar collectors on your roof. Look, it is a fabulous business model. It is. Putting a wind generator. There's wind generators everywhere. Yes, they're so cheap. It's so easy to source all the different metals that we have to have. And it doesn't have any scorched earth to it, like dirty coal. Unbelievable that you think you should have coal in the United States of America. Unbelievable. You are racist and you're horrible people.
So, Craig, who's gonna pay for all of these upgrades in the world?
Well, here's the good news.
Indonesia, Somalia,
Cuba. Here's the good news. The United States of America arguably is the wealthiest country on earth, even though we've quantitative eased ourselves into $30+ trillion worth of debt, about $250,000 for each adult. It's outrageous. But the good news is, folks, in the Great Reset, it's not going to matter. In the New World Order, pull that back up again. What do we got left here? Oh, we have no time left. Oh my gosh, we can't pull it up. We got about a minute left, folks.
I was letting you know we are running out of time.
Oh my gosh, folks, we might have to move to a 2-hour show. I'm serious. This is absolutely insane. We got to get the message out. Go to AmericaICan.com, ladies and gentlemen. You can see the plaque on the wall. When the new studio gets done, you're going to see things, more camera angles, things like that. That is the candidate oath right there. I keep it there because the candidate is the one that we have to monitor. And then we have the citizen oath that we've talked about as well. Right here, this is mine that I did, has my signature on it. And it's fantastic. I love it because it reminds me that I have a job to do. I have work to do. And really quick, so you go to AmericaICan.com. Just check it out, please. If you go to craigbouchon.com, click on the link. It's right there. You can go right to it. If you have any issues, we have an email opening up this week that you will be able to, we'll put out there. If you have questions on stuff or want to ask questions as well, you can reach out. So, letters to Trump. Oh, I love this. It's so fun to watch what these people have said in the past, good, bad, or otherwise. Some of these people you may agree with who they were great people. Others you could say they were horrible people. But this one right here is Roy Cohn. Okay, this is his letter. That's him right there on the couch and stuff like that. And here's what he said July 19th, 1984. 1984. That's like a big year, 1984. We covered today. Winning the case was much more than a legal landmark that any lawyer would treasure, as I do. It represents another high point in the 15 years of excitement and challenge that have marked my representation of you. Remember, this is to Donald Trump. Of you. Without your infectious enthusiasm and constant prodding, the victory would not have been possible. You proved that even in this day and age, you can fight City Hall and win. I don't imagine that there are two people around who are thought of as tougher than the two of us. And we both know that in personal relationships, that is not accurate. That is my way of saying how very much I appreciate your letter to me, which is being framed alongside the picture of us. May there be many more. And that's it right there. There they are together. Another person that highly respected Donald Trump. And obviously, he accomplished things that most people can't. And then there's a misrepresentation of the history of his life. And because nobody's life is perfect. And I love reading one. Each one, we're going to read one every day until we're through the whole book. It's fantastic. We're going to check it out. So, because the reality is, folks, you have to know the truth. The truth is not hate speech, ladies and gentlemen. And you're going to get it here. And we're gonna push it. Our agenda is you. Our agenda is your liberty. Our agenda is the republic for which we stand. We'll see you tomorrow, folks. God bless.
Wow, it's so soft and smooth.
It's cool to the touch. How did you do that?
Well, we took MyPillow's patented fill and combined it with this new technology that we didn't have back then when I invented MyPillow to bring you the best pillow in history, MyPillow 2.0. Because of all of you, MyPillow 2.0 has been a huge success, and now we're bringing you our best-selling Go Anywhere MyPillows with the same temperature-regulating technology. Made with my patented adjustable fill and brand new cooling fabric, they're truly the next generation of MyPillow. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save over 60% on our MyPillow 2.0 4-pack special. You'll get 2 MyPillows and 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows, regular $259.92, now only $99.98. King size just $10 more. This is a limited time offer, so please order now.